Usually when I come on here and prep for these shows, these videos, I have a bunch of tweets pulled up. I have news I want to talk about. There's a lot of different angles we want to hit. To be honest, today is just another opportunity for me to rant. Now, we'll go through a couple different things because I really think we are in need of sound the siren, emergency alert. It's time to make a serious decision. So I want to give my thoughts on that and a couple other things. But welcome in to Philly Take with RB, where apparently we suffer about the Sixers every single day. Like the video if you are a suffering Sixers fan out there. Drop your comments below. How do you think they right the ship? Can they? I want to start off by saying that this was supposed to be the easy part of the schedule. Coming into the season, we said, well, if the Sixers can get off running on a good start before they get to the second half, they will be in good shape. I mean, look at the second half. I don't think people remember, while they're out there saying things like, oh, well, we just have to be patient until we get healthy. We just have to relax, even though we're 3-13 and we're getting the doors blown off every game. We just have to chill until Embiid and Paul George come back. Do we realize that from January to March alone, this team plays 12 back-to-backs? By Embiid's standards, by his quotes, his words, that would be 12 games right there that he will not play in this season, if he even comes back and plays. In addition to that, you're digging yourselves into a hole against teams that you're supposed to beat. So during January, February, March, April, you're going to play the hard teams in the league, the teams you haven't even seen yet. The teams with MVP candidates and all-stars and things like that. So, no, I do think it's time to sound the alarm. And I'll give you a little bit more on that in just a second. But I asked a question on Twitter today, and I said, what is the number one thing the team needs to do right now? A bunch of people commented on this, and really the majority said health. Just get healthy and we'll be okay. I am past the point of thinking that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we all came in with high expectations. Yes, this was supposed to be the year, but they're not just losing games. I'll give you an example. Last year, Sixers come into the season with, of course, so much drama, the James Harden situation. But even through all of that, right, even getting Nicholas Batum and Morris and Martin and these guys, they still found ways to win. They were playing hard. They were anticipating the grind. They wanted it. You could see it on the body language. You could see it on the way they were running the team. Now, do I think Joel and PG coming back would help this team? Yeah, I think they would. Of course, it's an MVP and an all-star. But they are probably going to take, 5-10 games to even get in rhythm with each other. So you just don't have enough games. And that's why early when I said, you're losing to the G League Raptors, you're losing to the Grizzlies now twice, right? And one of them without John, 5 starters. You lost to the Pistons. Who else did they lose to? They lost to the New York Knicks. They lost to the Clippers now twice. Last night, Norman Powell wasn't even playing the game. No Kawhi Leonard. So you're losing to teams that you should have had the ability to beat. You lost to the Magic down Paolo Banchero. Listen, man, this team is just not good in any margin. And when it comes down to it, it's only going to get tougher. So I do not think that health is just going to bring this team back to life and, back to form and everything's going to be okay. And I think one of the reasons for that is that the team simply just does not have enough. They're not good enough. I want to look at some stats, but I just want to tell you what at least I've heard a little bit over the last 4 days. So I'm not going to say who this came from. I'm not going to say exactly what was told to me. And again, this is just stuff that people send me. I don't go looking for this. I'm not an insider. I'm not Shams of the Sixers. People just message me, and I've had multiple DMs over the last several days from, I would say, credible people, and they have told me, in a nutshell, that this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I'm like, what does that mean? And regarding the Embiid situation, at least what I'm being told behind the scenes is that it's just, there's more than we are seeing on the surface right now. Whether that's health related, I don't know. Whether that is attitude related, right? Because we heard the whole story come out from the team meeting and, Joel Embiid doesn't seem to be happy. Obviously, he's going through a lot of health struggles and I hope he's okay mentally, but he has talked about it openly, how that is affecting him. So whatever it is, showing up late, things like that, Apparently, it's more serious than we may think. And I hope that doesn't mean they just shut them down for the year and they're done. But then I would ask the people out there, is that the smartest thing to do? Like, is this reparable? Can they come back from this? Or, in other words, is it time to tank? Is it time to try to get Kook Flagg? Now, again, people keep throwing that out there, Tank For Flagg. It's not as easy as you think, man. Sixers would have to get lucky in the odds, right? You only get like a 14% chance, even if you're the worst team in the league. So they have to hope that their pick would even land in the top 5, in the top 6. If not, it goes to OKC. It's not set up for a tanking season, which is why I don't think it's going to happen. And back to the question, what is the number one thing this team needs to do? Well, they need to upgrade the roster. A lot of people are saying, well, fire the coach, provide a spark for the team. We've seen that before. However, we've also seen situations where that doesn't work out at all. And no, I do not think Nick Nurse is doing a good job with what he has right now. But I also think he's been strapped against the wall as well. And he probably doesn't even have a lot of clarity on what's going on with Joel or PG. And, there just hasn't been time to get it together and have chemistry. But what I will say in regards to Nurse is he needs to captivate the locker room, because it really does feel in these games like the Sixers quit. Like last night, no Norman Powell, no Kawhi. Sixers are down 20 in the first. They get slapped in the face. And then they have these stretches in the third quarter where they start getting smacked at a halftime and they never come back, and they end up playing the cleanup crew a minute into the fourth for the rest of the game because they know it is out of reach, and this team doesn't have that hunger, that ability to find it within them to come back. I mean, they did it a couple games ago, but most of these losses, they have been crushed in the second half, and they show no signs of fight. And one play at the end of last night's game where Bones Highland dunks the ball with like 2 seconds left, that is showing up the team. Usually you would get somebody that comes over and gives them a little chest bump like, hey, don't do that, especially on our floor. Nobody said a damn thing. They all just walked away. And to me, that kind of symbolized where this team is at mentally right now. Like, they really did not care at all. Now, one other thing I want to talk about before we talk about the roster is, what's going on with Joel Embiid? So like I said, it sounds like there's something fishy here. And this was the other game where Joel Embiid got ruled out for the next game in the middle at halftime of a basketball game, which I thought was very weird to begin with. But this is very intriguing from that last game. Embiid was called questionable at a shoot-around. Then they were told he would try to warm up to see if he could play against the Nets. That was Nick Nurse at 5:15. However, he never appeared during warm-ups. He wasn't on the bench. And he was ruled out a half hour before the game. And then he was ruled out at halftime for the next game. So something is going on here, and it's very weird behind the scenes. I'll be interested to hear what comes out about it, but it doesn't seem like a guy who is fully invested in the team. It doesn't feel like everything is connected here. Does anybody else feel that way, or is it just me? I'm just trying to connect the dots here. But nonetheless, whether Embiid plays, whether he doesn't, the Sixers have to just get better, all right? Let's look at the NBA team stats. Points. Sixers, second to last. Let's look at three-point percentage. Sixers, second to last. Let's look at assist. Sixers, second to last. Let's look at rebounds. Sixers, second to last. You get the trend here. The Sixers suck. The team is awful. They don't do anything well. And yes, these players were overrated. They were over-exaggerated. Like, they can't do anything. They can't put any good stretches together. Caleb Martin is having trouble shooting the basketball. Kelly Oubre, it doesn't even look close to what he showed last year. I mean, he is inefficient. He makes bad decisions. They have Andre Drummond, who I thought was one of the best signings of the offseason, and he doesn't even look capable of staying on the floor. Last night, James Harden picks him apart with Ivica Zubac, and Drummond is just having mental lapse after mental lapse. Then you have Yabusele, who they bring in just as a project, and they're trying to play him serious minutes. They're trying to play him at the 5, even though he's not a 5. KJ Martin was supposed to be a trade chip. He can't even play anymore. This whole team is just not good enough. The leading assist getter on this team right now is Paul George with under 5 assists per game, and that is in 8 games played. Did you see the team stats? The Sixers are at the bottom of every category, and they're only ahead of teams like the Wizards, who right now are on an 11-game losing streak, the Brooklyn Nets, who suck, the Pelicans, who have their entire team hurt. Sixers are just not good, and I don't think Joel Embiid and Paul George are going to solve every issue that this team has. I said it in August. I said it in September. The team doesn't have a power forward. I think they need more rebounding. They obviously need more shooting. They also don't seem interested in playing defense. Some of these great perimeter defenders we thought they had are getting blown by backdoor cuts, off-ball screens. They get lost in the sauce, and once this team goes down by 10, it feels like they just give up. What do I think the Sixers will do? I think we're going to have to wait and see how Joel gets reevaluated this week and whatever that means. I think Paul George will come back, but they need their guys to just be better, and I just don't know if they can be. That's where my head is at. This is the most frustrating it's ever been to talk about this basketball team. It might be time. The Sixers have a decision to make. Do they punt on this season and say, we'll get them next year and try to add one more elite weapon in the draft? Or do they really try to turn this thing around? It's going to be a long, scary road, and it has to start now. Tyrese Maxey talked about it last night, said we need to get back to having fun, believing in each other, playing ball. I don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes, but all we can talk about is what we see at the surface level. This team is getting blown away by teams that are not that good, and that is a fact. Give me your thoughts down below. Hopefully we see the brighter days ahead. Appreciate y'all, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.